Well, I'm gonna tell you this, every Christmas or birthday, I felt the pressure mounting because she would look and it wouldn't be no ring.
Every Christmas,
no,
Cory?
not
That's
every.
not true.
I think up until maybe the last year, she had a birthday. I think she was expecting like something.
Last year, what?
Before it happened, before we got engaged.
Like year.
No, I remember.
6,
I felt
7?
the pressure, and we would talk about it on the phone. She would throw little hints like, you know, like that. It's probably not gonna work out if he ain't trying to marry me. Like, what are we doing? We just dating, and she don't date, and you know, and so I was kind of like, man, you know, I have to marry her. But it wasn't like I didn't want to marry her. I just wasn't ready financially. I'll be honest. I felt like I was afraid. I was scared. I was just like, man, you know, this is serious. But then I said, you know what?
But I think we have to bring.
Sorry. So I went back to my old saying of what brought me here. What brought me here was faith on that plane was $75. And I said, okay.
This is nice to know. You never said this.
No, but so I said, well, you know what? Money's not everything, you know, and people think that it is, or that's what, you know, you'll get fake people and fake friends and all that with money. But I said one thing. I said, you know what? I got faith. And that's one thing I never waver is my faith and my belief in myself, God, my mother, and heaven looking down on me. I said, you know what? I'm gonna step up and make a move and God gonna take care of us. And that's just the honest truth. And I said, I'm gonna get a ring. I didn't have a lot of money, but I got a really, really nice ring. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna make this happen. And that's the truth. I said, I love her. She loves me. It's real. We'll make it work, no matter what. I don't care what people gonna say. They probably, why are you marrying this broke? You know? I said, whatever. We gonna make this work.
When you think about a Hollywood love story that looked pure, loyal, and unbreakable, the names Tia Mowry and Cory Hardrict probably come to mind. For years, they were that couple. The smiling red carpet photos, the sweet anniversary posts, the interviews where they finished each other's sentences. They made marriage look safe. Real, solid. But what if I told you that behind those smiles, there were whispers? What if the love story we all believed in was hiding secrets about money, betrayal, and double lives? Because lately, the internet has been buzzing with explosive claims. Claims that Cory didn't just break Tia's heart, but allegedly took from her. And even more shocking, rumors that he was living a completely different life behind closed doors. Now, before we jump to conclusions, let's walk through this slowly.
So happy we live together. I'm excited to pay our first bill. You know the rent's due, right? Who on earth is excited to pay bills? And what do you mean together? Hey, you live here, so you're not gonna pay it. Wait, what? So what would you do if I wasn't living here with you? What would you do? I would pay the rent and all the bills. Exactly. So why do you need me to pay the rent and the bills if you can do it by yourself?
Because this story isn't just about gossip. It's about trust. It's about power. It's about what happens when the woman holding everything together realizes she might have been carrying more than she ever signed up for. And trust me, what nobody expected was how messy this would get. Tia Mowry wasn't just another actress trying to make it in Hollywood. She grew up in front of our eyes. From her breakout role on Sister Sister alongside her twin sister Tamara Mowry, she built a career that lasted decades. She was talented, disciplined, and business-minded. She didn't just rely on one show. She branched out into producing, writing, lifestyle brands, and reality TV. Tia understood longevity. Cory Hardrict's story was different. He was talented too, no doubt, but when they met in the late 90s, their careers weren't equal.
You know, my marriage was a success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like a curriculum when you're in college or high school, right? You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you're creating, and I was able to create with Cory some beautiful, amazing children. Yeah. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation, there's a celebration. So that's basically, you know, how I'm looking at it now. And I feel like people look at, when they look at marriage, that success equals longevity. But no, at the end of the day, it's, are they happy? Are they thriving? Are they growing? And I feel like that is what is most important.
Tia was already established. Cory was still grinding, taking smaller roles, trying to build his name. And there's nothing wrong with that. Every actor has their journey. But from the beginning, people noticed the imbalance. They dated for years before getting married in 2008. Their wedding looked like a fairy tale. Tia always spoke about believing in him when nobody else did. She supported him emotionally and, according to many reports over the years, financially too. In interviews, Cory admitted he didn't have much money when he proposed.
Y'all wild in these comments. I don't know nothing about no boyfriend. Maybe y'all tell all you got.
Tia was the steady one, the provider, the planner. For a long time, she didn't seem to mind. She spoke proudly about being independent, about not needing a man to carry her. But here's the thing about strong women. Just because they can carry the weight doesn't mean they want to forever. As the years passed, Tia's brand kept growing. She starred in shows like The Game and launched successful ventures outside of acting.
Y'all wild in these comments. I don't know nothing about no boyfriend. Maybe y'all tell all you got.
Meanwhile, Cory worked consistently, but never quite reached her financial level. And slowly, fans started noticing subtle hints, little comments about imbalance, social media likes that seemed pointed. Then, in 2022, the bomb dropped. Tia filed for divorce. Her Instagram statement was calm, respectful. She talked about growth, about graduating from the marriage. She insisted there was love and mutual respect. But sometimes the calmest statements hide the loudest truths.
It got worse, but I feel like it's about to get worse. Oh! It got worse. It got worse.
Because behind that peaceful announcement, tension was brewing. Here's where things take a turn. After the divorce filing, rumors started swirling about money. Allegations that Cory questioned their prenup, that he sought spousal support. Some people defended him, saying that's standard in Hollywood divorces. Others weren't so forgiving. They began asking, if Tia was the primary breadwinner for years, why was he now going after more? But it didn't stop there. Online gossip pages began pushing a more explosive narrative, that Tia allegedly felt Cory had mishandled their finances during the marriage, that money she earned somehow disappeared, that there were questionable transactions. Now let's be clear, these are allegations circulating online, not confirmed facts. But the whispers grew louder. Fans started connecting dots. They revisited old interviews where Tia hinted at carrying the financial load. They analyzed her social media activity, especially posts about knowing your worth and not settling. One caption in particular caught attention: "When you realize you deserve better." Simple words, but heavy. And then came the most shocking layer of all. Rumors began spreading that Cory allegedly had secret relationships with men in the industry, that some connections weren't just professional, that certain career opportunities may have come with private strings attached. Again, these are claims circulating in gossip spaces, not proven statements. But once that kind of rumor hits the internet, it moves fast. People started revisiting old photos, old interviews, body language clips. They questioned everything. Was Tia blindsided? Did she know? Was this part of the reason she walked away? But here's the twist. Instead of responding directly to the rumors, Tia stayed mostly silent. No name-calling, no messy interviews, just subtle empowerment posts and a focus on her children and career. That silence, it spoke volumes. Meanwhile, Cory gave interviews expressing heartbreak. He admitted he cried himself to sleep for over a year after the split. He talked about feeling devastated, about not wanting the marriage to end. And for a moment, people felt sorry for him. Until the money talk resurfaced. Court documents revealed discussions about property division and financial arrangements. Nothing illegal, nothing criminal, but enough to make fans question motives. Some supporters claimed he was simply protecting his rights. Critics argued that a man who was financially supported for years shouldn't turn around and demand more. The internet became divided. And then came another subtle but powerful moment. Tia began dating again. She posted glowing photos, smiling, relaxed, almost lighter. In one caption, she wrote, "What one man won't do, another will." That line, it felt intentional. Was it about emotional support, financial partnership, loyalty? Nobody knew for sure, but it didn't sound random. Speculation exploded that Cory was upset about her moving on, that he felt replaced, that he wasn't ready to let go. And some insiders claimed that behind the scenes, tensions were far from peaceful. But what nobody expected was how deeply this narrative would shift public perception. For years, Tia had been seen as the lucky wife, the woman who held her man down. Now, many began seeing her as the woman who finally freed herself. And the alleged affairs rumors, they refused to die down. Social media detectives pointed out industry friendships, late-night events, vague blind items from gossip blogs hinting at a married actor living a double life. Again, nothing confirmed, but in the age of the internet, suggestion alone can shape reality. Through it all, Tia kept building, expanding her lifestyle brand, taking new acting roles, showing up polished and poised. She never directly accused Cory of stealing, never publicly confirmed any affairs, and that restraint made people even more curious. Because when someone doesn't defend themselves loudly, sometimes it's because they know the truth doesn't need screaming. But let's pause here, because beyond the gossip, there's a human side to this. Imagine believing in someone for over a decade, supporting them, building a family, sharing finances, sharing dreams, and then one day realizing the foundation might not be as solid as you thought. That kind of realization doesn't just hurt, it shakes your identity. Friends close to Tia reportedly said she felt exhausted, not angry, not bitter, just tired. Tired of carrying, tired of questioning, tired of wondering if loyalty was mutual. And Cory? He publicly expressed pain, regret, longing. Whether that longing was for love, stability, or image, only he knows. The divorce may be finalized, the papers signed, but emotionally, these things linger. The real impact of this drama goes far beyond headlines. For Tia, this was about reclaiming control, financially, emotionally, spiritually. She has openly talked about therapy, growth, and redefining happiness. Walking away from a long marriage isn't easy, especially in the public eye. Every move gets analyzed, every smile gets dissected. For their children, it meant adjusting to 2 homes, 2 schedules, 2 separate parents learning how to coexist without resentment spilling over. And no matter what rumors swirl online, co-parenting takes maturity. Career-wise, the split oddly seemed to elevate Tia's public support. Many women related to her. They saw themselves in her story, being the strong one for too long, and that relatability strengthened her brand. Cory's career continued too. He booked roles, he showed up at events, but the narrative around him shifted. Fairly or unfairly, the internet doesn't forget accusations easily. And that's the thing about public relationships. When they crumble, everyone feels entitled to choose a side. But here's the final thought. Sometimes a breakup isn't about one explosive betrayal. Sometimes it's about years of small disappointments stacking up. Sometimes it's about realizing love alone isn't enough. And sometimes the strongest move a person can make is walking away quietly. Did Cory steal? Were there secret affairs? Only the people involved truly know. Rumors can paint pictures, but truth lives behind closed doors. What we do know is this: Tia Mowry stepped into a new chapter unapologetically. She didn't beg, she didn't drag, she didn't publicly destroy. She chose dignity. And maybe that's the real story here. Because in a world where drama sells and scandals explode overnight, the most powerful thing a woman can do is reclaim her peace. But what do you think? Was this a case of betrayal and hidden secrets, or just 2 people who grew apart under pressure? One thing's for sure, this story may be legally over, but emotionally, it still has layers we haven't uncovered. And in Hollywood, there's always another twist waiting.